Who is responsible for teaching our kids about sex education and contraceptives? The most important thing I want you to gain from my speech today is pertinent information, surveys, facts, statistics that others think that is crucial to the sex education and contraceptive use and the teaching of it in our schools and how important that is. Children should be taught about sex education and contraceptives, whether they're male or female. As a parent, as a teacher, as a principal, as a school faculty member, as a member in the community, as a religious leader, I think we all have that responsibility of educating our kids, period, versus also educating our kids on sex education, and contraceptives should be one of those if we educate them on everything else. 75% of our kids' time is spent in school, at least 8 hours a day. So why shouldn't schools be held responsible or somewhat responsible for educating them as well? Our kids, they learn good habits and bad habits from school, from their peers. So their peers, if we don't educate them, the information that they do obtain, whether it's true or whether it's false, is going to be learned from their peers and their classmates. So why not I think we should give them that opportunity to get that education and to learn the true facts about contraceptives and sex. We also should make them aware of the consequences if they do have sex and they do choose to have sex and it's unprotected. According to a national vital statistic report, at least 1 million teens become pregnant a year. And at least 4 out of 10 of them wind up being pregnant at least one time before the age of 20. And on an annual basis, at least $40 billion is spent to help take care of these young babies that are born out of wedlock by teenagers. Our birth rate and pregnancy rates are declining, but they are still too high. If you look at the facts, the U.S. has the highest rates. Double Canada, 4 times France and Germany, and 8 times the pregnancy of Japan. More than 6, or at least 6 in 10 people vote for the right for sex education and the teaching of contraceptives to be taught in schools. That includes the Democrats, the Republicans, religious leaders, Catholics, and Christians. There's at least 14 religious organizations or faith-based organizations that also agree that sex education should be taught in school, and it is our responsibility as educators to do that. According to Mark Carl Rahm, he wrote Religion and Sexuality, Education in American Public Schools. He's from the Georgetown University. He felt that kids should choose abstinence over sex, but if they did actually want to have sex, that they would be given correct information about sex and how it can, the cause and effect, and how it can affect their lives once they actually make the decision to have sex. And if they do make the decision to have sex, the consequences of doing that. At least 40% of U.S. teens have babies and they're unmarried. Where they should get this information from, where they need to get the information from as far as obtaining contraceptives. They should be taught on how to use the contraceptives, because some kids are embarrassed about asking, where do I get condoms at, or where do I get this from in reference to having sex. So therefore, I feel as though kids should be given the information in school on where to get contraceptives from and what contraceptives are available to them, which leads me to this. If they do decide to have sex, they have couple of places where you can get them from. One place would be the healthcare centers, over the counter, friends, and now they even have them at some schools where you can get them at school. According to the Planned Parenthood Association, there are many different contraceptives, which include birth control pills, birth control shots, birth control sponges, male and female condoms, and diaphragms. With this being said, next question is, how much information do we give them? I think it should be age appropriate based on if they're in the middle school or if they're in the high school. According to SECUS, which stands for Sexuality, Information, and Education Council of the United States, national survey was given, and 93% of parents of junior high school students and 91% of high school students' parents felt that sex education should be taught in the schools, which only leaves about 4% junior high, 6% high school that think that sex education should not be taught in school. So you can look at that figure there, that statistic there, and it tells you that most parents do want their kids to learn about sex in school for whatever reason, whether it's the fact that they want to teach them or they don't feel comfortable teaching them about it. Also, we should make them aware that even though they're using contraceptives and they're practicing safe sex, they still could be at risk for STDs and pregnancies. And also girls should teach the girls that even if the guy doesn't suggest using contraceptives, they should step forward and make that decision as well. They're held responsible too. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, a survey was done in February 2013. 20 million new infections. They would document that there were 20 million new infections in the U.S. alone, and it cost the healthcare system at least $16 billion. Those STDs include chlamydia, herpes, genital warts, gonorrhea, hepatitis B, syphilis, pubic lice, which is crabs, and could even lead to HIV or AIDS. I am a strong advocate that the teaching about sex education and contraceptives should be taught in the school system, and it is part of their responsibility, as well as the parents. And in conclusion, I would like to summarize some of my key points. Remember, sex and contraceptives go together. The consequences of having unprotected sex can lead to STDs and unwanted pregnancies. The statistics support it. Let them know that birth control is available and it can be purchased at clinics and at hospitals and at doctor's offices. But it is our responsibility, parents and teachers, as I said before, to make sure that our children are educated about sex education and the use of contraceptives.